In honor of Autism Awareness Month, Spectrum Fusion is getting ready for their Sip and Support event with a tequila tasting, and not just tequila, for a good cause.
That's right. We're going to learn about that in just a minute.
Yeah.
But the nonprofit Spectrum Fusion actively provides employment opportunities to young adults on the autism spectrum. Here to tell us more about the nonprofit and the event is Spectrum Fusion founder Heidi and Polo Gutierrez, president of Mercury Imports. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
We're learning so much about not tequila.
Right.
It's tequila, but it's not tequila. Well, we're going to explain in just a bit. But Heidi, let's talk about Spectrum Fusion. This is such an amazing organization. Tell folks at home who've never heard of it, maybe, what it's all about.
So we're a nonprofit organization. We're the only organization of its kind. We empower autistic adults and specialize in creatives on the autism spectrum who have skills and talents in media production and who actually have other skills that we can use. But everybody always thinks about children on the spectrum, but they grow up and what happens to them. And so I started as a speech therapist. I became an autism researcher. I was living in Australia, and I started this as a pilot program, and I brought it to America in 2018. And now we're a nonprofit organization, and we have a media team, a studio, and we have clients that hire us, and we produce content for them.
Incredible opportunities for those folks. Polo, why was it so important, did you think, to get involved in this organization?
Well, it's a great organization. What Heidi just mentioned is a little bit of what she does, but she helps so many people in the spectrum. And I was guilty of being ignorant about what autism was until I got involved. And what she does is phenomenal. Just getting people to be functional in the social life, and not because of them, but because of us that don't understand it, is great. So it was very important that we give back to the community, and she does an excellent job.
That's beautiful.
And Heidi, how have you seen, things change for those on the spectrum? You started out as a researcher, and now there are people living on the spectrum that are independent, that are able to have jobs and live on their own. So tell us about the changes that you've been able to see.
Well, there are changes, and we have companies like Microsoft and SAP. They're hiring autistic adults, and that's wonderful. But then again, like I was mentioning, there are individuals that have skills that it's very difficult to find a role. So if somebody, says, oh, I'm a script writer, oh, I'm a voiceover artist, oh, I want to, go to Hollywood. Like, these are, very difficult, I guess, roads to pave. But that's why I brought all the talents together. And so now we do have scriptwriters, editors, videographers, and we train and we hire, and we, like I said, we just made a movie with a company called J&J Ranch Production. And so, lives are changing. Individuals often, they are living at home, that many are isolated, they're falling into despair, they're lonely. And not only do we hire and train, but we have a community where people get together, we celebrate, events, they make friends, we have romances. And, these are first, when we went to East Texas for the movie, this is their first road trip, their first time in an Airbnb, things that we take for granted, first time at Buc-ee's. So not only, is it that we hire and that we provide a viable opportunity for their future, but it's also more than that. It's about a sense of belonging and really feeling a part of a community.
What an enriching experience, and nurturing their talents too as we get into creative arts and things. Let's talk about the Sip and Support event coming up, because this is why we've got the alcohol and booze in the studio.
Exactly.
But Polo, you were telling us tequila may be the most famous drink of Mexico, but it's certainly not the only one, and you have some other stuff in addition to mezcal, but something new that none of us here had even heard about.
Exactly. So we're pairing with Spectrum Fusion. We're going to do an event where there's going to be Mexican food paired with some of our products. So if we start from that side, the far end on that side, that's called Lucum. That's a very, very exotic product. It's made just like tequila, but it's made in the Yucatan Peninsula with an agave called Anaken. super good. Actually, I call it my wow tequila because people, when they try it, they go like, wow, I wasn't expecting this. Next to it is Chula Vista. Chula Vista is your more traditional tequila. It's made in Jalisco. 2 presentations, Blanco and Reposado. The Reposado is aged for 3 months in American whiskey barrels, so it has a really nice taste. The next one is Pua. So we moved from tequilas into mezcals. Okay. So the interesting thing about mezcals is tequila can only be made with 1 agave, so blue agave. Mezcals, they use 40 different varieties. And it's more like wine. You have your individual plant mezcals, and then you have blends like this one. So that one is a blend of 2 agaves, Espadín and Cuish, so 8 years and 12 years. The next one is an Espadín that they age in barrels, so they give it a reposado, and then on the second distillation they handcuff it to make it very interesting. And this one in particular is fresh to the United States. We got it last week. Already is going out there and making a great impact. Is made with wild agaves, meaning that they don't have a plantation for them, so they grow naturally. Wow. And it gives it a little better flavor. 17 years old for the Mexicano, and then 15 years old for the Mexicano, 17 for the Tepestate, and that's the time that the plant takes to grow and be ready to
so
be
you didn't
harvested.
know you were going to class in addition to supporting a great organization,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Where can we learn more about when and where it's happening and how folks can get tickets and be part of it, Heidi?
So you can go to spectrumfusion.org, and there's a banner, and Sip and Support Tequila Tasting for a Good Cause, April 18th at 6 p.m. to 8:30 at Chancellor Center. Tickets and tables are still available. We would love to have you, and 100% of all of the profits or all of the donations go to hiring and training autistic adults.
That's beautiful, 100%. That's
100%.
Good to know. Thank you both for coming in today and hanging out, and a little lesson too.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.